You're listening to the Paranormal Peeps on the Darkcast Network. Come to the dark side of indie podcasts with the Darkcast Network.
We have cookies. Between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living, join Josh, Jamey, and Elisa as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
Hello, is this thing on? Okay, good. I am sorry to interrupt your listening pleasure, but my name is Tiffany, and I'm here to tell you about my podcast, True Crime Connections. It's an advocacy podcast that talks with real survivors about real shit. This is the place you want to be if you've been in a toxic relationship or anything tragic has happened to you and you're looking to find your strength and healing. No two episodes are alike, but they all give you useful tools that you can take with you. So make sure to find me on your favorite podcast platform, or you can go to truecrimeconnections.com and come join the Hope Building community. See you there.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jamey.
And Elisa is MIA at the moment.
Yeah, well, you know, life happens.
It does.
Things happen.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, so this is another one of our little short things, right?
Yeah.
So I figured we would go over the pond to the UK.
They have a lot of haunted stuff over there.
Tons.
Little jealous that you could basically throw a stone and hit something haunted.
I know. But, you know, you got to imagine that folks over there and from other countries probably look at some of the things that we have here in the States and say the same thing.
This is true. Although the one thing I'm sure they don't say in the UK is, boy, that driving 28 hours just to get to one spot.
You know, if it's a good spot, it's worth it.
It is worth it.
And I like road trips, so for me, yeah, I like stopping at all the little fun places in between.
So does that mean we need to take a plane trip?
Yeah, if we're going to go, you know.
To the fun haunted places in the UK?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm not going to swim there, so.
I wouldn't make it.
I wouldn't make it a quarter of a mile. Are you kidding me? All right, so tonight we're going to talk about the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall.
Now, isn't this the story that got you into the paranormal?
You know, it's probably the first one that I ever read when my brother brought home a library book and I was in grade school. I think I was in 4th grade.
Jeez.
And yeah, I remember the photo. And then I read about it and I was hooked. Like, that was it.
So this is kind of your origin story,
so to speak. In a way, this was the first story that I read, and I just so happen to have it in one of my many books on the paranormal.
Yeah, you have a lot.
Yeah, 20, 30, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's a lot.
Yeah.
To others, it's probably a drop in the bucket, but...
Other people are like, what are books?
Newer generations, book.
Right? Who reads a book?
You mean an ancient tablet? Chiseled out of stone. Okay, so Raynham Hall, it's in Norfolk, about 20 miles from King's Lynn and 5 miles from the hamlet of Fakenham. Now, we couldn't decide on how to pronounce that word, so we're going to go with Fakenham. It could be something else, but it just doesn't sound right.
It does not.
It doesn't sound good. So anyways, Raynham Hall is a 16th century estate which is reported to be haunted by the famous Brown Lady apparition. So she has appeared on, so they have like a great oak staircase there. And she's actually been reported to appear on that staircase for the last 300 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, so it makes me wonder, is it like residual? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If she just keeps appearing on this staircase.
You know, it's crazy. She's been appearing on that staircase since before the U.S. was a country.
Yep.
That tells you how long it's been.
Yes. So anyways, the Brown Lady is described as wearing a brown dress and being normal in all respects except for where her eyes should be. She's
got contacts, guys.
She got contacts. No, she's got glasses. She's got those big satellite contacts. Or glasses. So where her eyes should be are just deep, dark holes. Now that's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if I see an apparition with just these big black holes in its where its eyes should be, I think I'm done. It's a little unnerving.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be absolutely terrifying.
So her frightening ghost has been seen by scores, they claim, of credible witnesses. So including visiting government dignitaries.
Wow.
I don't know their government. I don't.
Do we trust them?
Do we trust them? No. In 1787, she appeared at the foot of the bed of King George IV, who was he was actually spending the night there. He says, "I will not stay another hour in that cursed house," said King George. He vacated the premises in the middle of the night. So he says, "For tonight I have seen that which I hope to God I may never see again."
Wow.
I mean, if it really frightened him that bad, I can't imagine it was pleasant.
Right?
You know?
But what's crazy is I think the Royals have so many other properties that are haunted.
Oh, I'm sure, but you know, a lot of times you're not thinking, I mean, most people, okay, like people obviously that do what we do, we're always going somewhere and we drive by a building that's abandoned, we're like, I wonder if it's haunted.
Yeah, can we get in there?
Look at a decrepit old building, you're like, I wonder if it's haunted. Just because it gives you the creep vibe. Doesn't mean it is, right?
Yeah.
But, we watch a lot of movies and
and we do this for fun, and so
we do this as a hobby. So yeah, we definitely are always
thinking
wondering that. Yeah,
that's very true.
So they actually even posted guards in the house to try to capture the ghost. So when she finally did appear to them, they froze right where they stood, and then she just ended up walking right through them.
Ghostbusters? They were not.
No.
But what would you do anyway, though?
I don't know. I know we go out and we've experienced a lot of things, but I don't know how I would react in an instance like that.
Where they fully materializes in front of you?
Right in front of your eyes, and then passes through you?
But if you're supposed to capture and detain it,
how? I don't know.
Please come with us to...
I don't think they thought that part through.
You're coming with us to Scotland Yard. Let's go. Probably
Put on these ghost handcuffs.
Exactly.
We're taking you away. So there was another occasion, which was on Christmas Day in 1835, and Raynham Hall was full of really important people that come all the way from London to spend the holidays. But the brown lady, I guess she just completely disrupted the festivities, and she appeared in the hallways, on the staircase, and in her former room. So she was witnessed by many.
Jeez. Nothing ruins a party like a ghost.
Yeah. Christmas festivities, and it's just like, well, that puts a damper on that mood.
Right.
So the brown lady became so notorious that in the early 1900s, an author named Captain Frederick Marryat, he actually set out to expose the ghost as a hoax.
Ooh.
So when her apparition actually confronted him late at night in an upstairs hallway and refused to identify herself, the captain fired his gun at point-blank range.
This is the first I've ever heard of someone trying to kill a ghost.
The bullet passed through the entity and lodged in the heavy oak door. So he instantly became a believer in spirits after that. I mean, yeah, she appears, you say identify yourself. Of course, she doesn't interact with you. This is what makes me wonder if it's residual.
Right.
Is because she didn't, it's almost, I get the feeling that it's like she wasn't even aware that he was there.
Yeah, just kind of there.
Yeah, and so, and then he pulls a gun and fires around into her.
Goes through her, hits the wall.
Hits the oak door, the heavy oak door.
Here's my question. Is it still there?
That's a great question, but they don't mention.
Because that'd be so cool.
To go see where it was lodged?
Yeah.
Hopefully it is, and they didn't repair it. So then we jump to 1926, and the brown lady was actually then seen again descending the main staircase in broad daylight. So this, and we always say this, we hunt at night because Everything is more quiet and calm.
Yes.
There's not much noise from other people. You know, most people are at home, they're in bed, you know.
Less chance of
Yes.
Of contamination of an investigation.
Of the audio and video.
Yes.
Okay, so this is why we investigate at night. However, hauntings don't just happen at night. They can happen day or night. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think we've both had instances happening during the daylight.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, September 19th, 1936, a photographer for Country Life magazine and his assistant were actually at the hall, and they were taking pictures of the house. And the photographer all of a sudden saw this misty vapor start to appear at the top of the main staircase. So as he's watching this, the mist, it kind of formed into the lady with her long gown, and she began to walk down the stairs towards him. So the assistant that was with this guy, the photographer, he was actually busy setting up the cameras, and he didn't actually see the apparition. So when the photographer hollered at him to expose the plate, the man immediately snapped the picture, and as soon as the flash went off, the ghost actually dissipated and disappeared. But her image was still captured on that film.
And you're talking plates, so that's the early photography.
Yeah, this is the early stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's not like today with like Photoshop and all these, you know, cool things that you can like doctor photos and change them so easily, you know.
Yeah, it was a lot harder back then to make ghost images.
Yeah. So they had this plate looked at by several experts, and they deemed the plate genuine. And the photograph has been examined like over the years, and nobody can like debunk it. They can't just say, hey, no, this isn't accurate, or this is fake, or they just can't.
Jeez.
So
now, is that the most famous picture of the brown lady, or is that just a picture?
No, that's the most famous one that you see. If you look up Brown Lady at Raynham Hall, that's the picture you're going to see, her descending the main staircase.
And it's just a mist.
It's just a mist, but you can tell.
It's got some features.
It's got some features. I mean, you have to look closely, but you can definitely see it. It's not. I don't think it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, her name was actually Dorothy Walpole, and she died in 1726. And witnesses identified her from a portrait that hung in the upstairs bedroom, which I'm guessing was probably her bedroom, because remember, she's reported a room there,
right?
And they said it was her room, so I'm guessing that's probably.
So she's been haunting there pretty much since her death.
Yeah. So the painting was actually removed from the house in 1904 on the mistaken belief that it would actually stop the haunting from happening. So Dorothy was actually the wife of Charles Townshend, and he was the second Marquis of Townshend and the original owner of Raynham Hall. So she was also the sister of Sir Robert, England's first Prime Minister.
Okay.
And her apparition has also actually been seen at his former residence. So Dorothy's many years of blissful marriage to Charles ended when stories actually started to circulate about her lewd behavior when she was younger and living in Paris. She confessed that the rumors were actually true, and then her husband just never forgave her. So yeah, he actually banished her to her room, and they rarely ever spoke. But after she died suddenly of smallpox, more rumors began to circulate that in fact her husband had actually pushed her down the main staircase at the hall, and that she had actually died of a broken neck. Now I wonder something. So she appears a lot on that main staircase.
Yes. So is there truth?
Is she trying to tell people something?
It could be that she was murdered. And
I mean, it's possible. Who knows? I mean, we'll never know.
You're talking about people with power, right? So, and let's face it, like if a guy's like, hey, yeah, she died of smallpox, and they're going to go, okay, cool. And then that's it. So they don't know whether these rumors originated with the servants
or it was, or the coroner. It's really uncertain. They don't really know.
Yeah.
And they really don't know whether they're true. But yeah, they speculate that maybe that's why she's trying to tell everybody something, is by her dramatic appearances on that main staircase in the hall. So her ghost has also been seen at Houghton Hall, which is the former home of her brother, Sir Robert, and at Sandringham Palace, which is also in Norfolk. So the palace is haunted by another spirit who manifests as a poltergeist that is actually most active on Christmas Eve every year.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, we did an episode on that this last Christmas.
I think we did.
Yes, we did.
I really don't remember. We've done so many, I don't know. So the on-scene present reports that, it's reported that the on-scene present throws Christmas cards all over the floor of the servants' quarters on the second floor, will pull the blankets off the beds, walks through the corridors late at night, and breathes down the necks of maids just to frighten them.
Mischievous.
Yeah, just like a little trickster, I think.
Yeah.
Really. So the apparition of a short male lamplighter has also been seen on the property, and he might be responsible for the poltergeist pranks. So, but the most famous ghost here is still Dorothy. So Prince Philip's uncle, Prince Christopher of Greece, once saw the head and shoulders of Dorothy reflected in a mirror in a bedroom in which he was actually staying at in the palace. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's kind of been shown around a lot. It seems like, yeah, she's showing up where she's been, right? Her brother's house.
Yeah.
Sandringham Hall.
Yep.
And here at Raynham Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
which was her home.
Which was her home.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like whatever she did back in Paris, right? I mean, it's a different country. They have different modesty standards. They did different things.
Sure,
right?
but she was probably young.
Yes.
Teenager, I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
Early 20s, I don't know. And she probably just lived it up with people over there in Paris.
And did things that
were frowned upon, in her circle.
Yeah,
and they find out that, and this, obviously she did these things before she met her husband and married him and all those pieces, but I think back then,
it was different. And he basically cast her aside. So no matter how she died, whether she was murdered or she just died of smallpox, I would imagine she died brokenhearted.
I mean, it would break my heart.
I think it would break a lot of people's hearts.
Yeah. I think, most people, I think it would.
To be like,
because it sounds like she had a happy marriage. It says here in the book that, she had many years, of a happy marriage until those rumors started. And, and of course she was trying to be honest and forthcoming. And so she admitted that, yes, these are true.
Yeah.
I did these things when I was younger and I was in Paris.
But, unfortunately, I think at those times, those things become so scandalous that they're so damning to the, reputation of those individuals that it's, they get forced to do something.
And back then it was about clout and reputation.
Yeah.
So when you do something to bring shame to, your family, and I mean, you hear it in all sorts of different cultures,
I just think of Mushu.
Shame on you, shame on your cow.
Yes. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely, I would love to go over there and be able to, if I couldn't investigate it, I would just love to go over there and just walk down that staircase, because sometimes you can just, if you really kind of tune in, sometimes you can just feel the energy, and walk through, up and down the corridors and all those things. I would love. And I'd also love to actually go, and they said they removed the painting. They never said whether they put it back when the hauntings didn't stop when they removed it.
They did not. They didn't say where it's located at all.
But I'd love to see a picture of what she really looked like.
Yeah. That way you get an idea, right?
Yeah, you put a face to, the person that reportedly haunts this place.
Yeah. It would be amazing. One, to be in a building so old, 300 years old.
Heck yeah.
So that in itself is awesome. And then just like the one thing I love about old buildings is you just think of all of the times that people had there, the Christmas parties, the festivities, the balls, all of those things that are going on, because these places were social events. Like people gathered there and hung out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's awesome to see.
Just the different, style and architecture. Like, it feels like everything you see today is very square, rectangle, and that's just it. Like, there's no little, like, it's just very, it's that modern, I don't know, it just seems kind of impersonal and cold. I think these older buildings, they have so much character.
They have angles.
They have angles, and the architecture is beautiful, and, you see a lot of the stonework and the woodwork in these homes and the immaculate staircases, and I mean, it's amazing.
And the fact that they've managed to keep them standing for as long as they have.
Absolutely. It's like, today, it's just like when we go and shop for, like, a piece of furniture. I want something that has style, but, 99% of what you find out there is just these pressed board, very plain, just, I don't know. Looks sterile, it's awful.
Such a different time.
It's such a different time, and I always feel like I live in the I know I'm living in the right time, but I mean, I just feel like I'm living in the wrong time.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of romance to the Renaissance era, to that time, because things were different. There was the furniture, the buildings coming out. It was just beautiful. People
had manners and showed respect for people they didn't really even necessarily like. But you still had this, respect for one another. And we don't show those things today.
We don't.
I think it's more of a rarity.
There was also a lot of condescension too, so it was a lot classy. I mean, classier as in like people, but also classy as in the classes really meant something. Like, it was unheard of to have somebody of royal family dating somebody, one, from another country, but two, someone who wasn't,
a commoner. That they considered a commoner.
Exactly.
Yeah. Different times. There's good and bad in all times.
So we just want to say thank you for coming along with this origin story for Jamey for her paranormal interests. And hopefully it gets you guys a little bit more excited about other places to look at and investigate, and to come back and listen again.
Yes, but always investigate with permission.
Yes.
Please don't trespass. Please don't go into decrepit old buildings where nobody knows that you're there, because if you get hurt or something happens or you get caught, you can get arrested. So always be respectful. Ask permission.
Absolutely. And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps.
He actually ended up banishing her to her room in that mansion, and they rarely even smoked.
Well, of course they weren't having sex. They weren't going to be smoking afterwards.
Got to smoke some weed. I'm trapped.
Whoa there, Sparkle Farts, my trusty unicorn. I've got to tell these good people about our show. Hey there, I'm CJ, host of Beyond the Rainbow, True Crimes of the LGBTQ+. While I do have episodes on some of the more well-known cases from the LGBTQ community, such as Matthew Shepard, Brandon Tina, and the Orlando Pulse nightclub massacre, I cover world cases like the London nail bombing murders, Australia's Snowtown murders, in South Africa's corrective rape and murder of lesbians. I cover lesser-known cases like the murder of 21-year-old trans man Alex Van Dulsen in Indiana. Police called his death a suicide. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. I tell you about wrongful conviction cases, serial killers, and school shooters. My unicorn and I cover all sorts of crimes against the LGBTQ and crimes by members of the LGBTQ. You don't have to be part of the community to listen. All walks of life are welcome to become Rainbow Warriors, because you matter. And remember, it's not a crime to be gay, unless you're a murderer.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.